So an article caught my eye that State Farm is likely raising 15, 20, 30%, 90%. They said 27.2% in Illinois for homeowners. And that's a little bit of a scary fact. I wanted to make a video because it's not just Illinois. It's actually across the board. Most homes right now are getting to the age where they're unrepairable. And that means that electrical could be going bad, the roofs are likely having issues, there's trees overhanging the roof, there's mildew showing up on roofs because of trees nearby. The weather, just in general, has played a pretty mean factor on our houses. And you're starting to see companies like State Farm, who have normally been steady with those, are seeing some pain points. The biggest thing that I want to talk about in this video that we'll talk a little bit later is what these agents are doing that honestly, in my opinion, is kind of dishonest. Let's go a little bit further in depth and find out why and how you can fix these rate increases with your house insurance. So if you are seeing a pretty big rate increase and you don't have an agency you're working with, I'd recommend filling out the information in the link in the description. There's a way to shop with multiple companies with one agent without having to bounce around. That's assuming that you don't have someone that you can go to. If you have an agent you trust, then go to them first, see if they can shop other companies. But that is honestly the biggest way to find the better rate. House insurance is all across the board right now. There is no guarantee or good fit for a lot of companies. I've seen companies go 20% up. I've seen some go 10% down. So there are some decreasing companies that have been very popular. I have one company that's really good on houses, but they want the auto with it. So if you're not willing to switch both, the discount that you get isn't as significant, although sometimes can still be beneficial. You just gotta make that right fit. And those agents can shop that for you without you having to do all the legwork. There's no extra cost. You just pay the rate that it is and they get paid by the company. So there's a benefit to everybody at the end of the day. I'll put that link in the description below. Now, Illinois specifically, the article I'm reading from a company called KSD, I don't know who they are, DK. They're actually stating factual information. They're giving stats. That 27.7% is actually in Illinois because State Farm is raising the rate because of that. They're seeing about a third of their policies are seeing an increase, and they're calling it unfair because the national average for Illinois specifically is not that high. So they're not seeing that many claims. They're curious to why State Farm is raising it that high, but also raises the question, what other companies are doing this? Can we trust that those rates are accurate? Are they paying for all of the wildfires in California? Because State Farm is a massive company there, and they lost a ton of money because of that. Now, if that is that fair? Should Illinois make up for California or vice versa and across the board? But Mark, why are the other homes in other states like Michigan or Virginia or Tennessee, all of those are starting to go up and you're talking about all of those things? The ages of most homes are hitting that 60 years or older, and that is just that age where you might have replaced the roof once, but it's due for a second one. You may have replaced the siding, but the weather is probably beating it up. You may have the perfect home in perfect condition, but if it was built in the 1920s, odds are there's stucco somewhere in the walls. There's slats, like on the back wall here. There's all sorts of like extra cost material that come with those homes. If you haven't replaced the windows, you've got the single, maybe a dual pane, but they're not the newer versions. So there's cold coming in. There's possible damage that could happen. We have to fix our windows that are pretty much brand new a couple years ago, but the caulk around is starting to crack. It's just the heat, the sun, all of the weather is starting to happen. We actually had, I think some squirrel or something's gotten up on the ledge of one of them, and there's all like the little chewing things all over it. So I'm like afraid that they can chew through the wires somewhere. And so you've got to be a little bit careful that those pieces are covered correctly, and you can have insurance take a look at that when they're starting to shop. What most companies are starting to do is use AI. I get it. It's not the best thing. Not everyone loves it, but it can be beneficial. If you have a really good home, I've got some companies that do an AI aerial view. It's already there. Your data is already shared and it's live, but they take that and they can see the roof is in really good condition, and they can see that there's not a ton of trees that could fall on your house. And they'll give you an actual rate based on that location, based on what the AI has come back with. It can analyze the square footage of your home and estimate pretty accurately what the actual cost of your insurance can be. For the companies that do that, you're going to see a way better deal versus the companies that just use a weather-based related app. That's what I'm thinking they're doing here, and they're just predicting what's going to happen. So the weather likely is going to be heavier rain. We're going to have bigger problems. We know that the average houses in these areas are 60 to 70 years old, so we're probably going to have to pay out this many claims. That means we're either going to increase the rate or non-renew people's insurance. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think, one, this should be allowed, or two, that you're seeing these increases happen? I'd be curious to know what state you're in and where you're seeing the homes increase and what they told you, because I feel like they're not telling the full truth with some of these things. And honestly, I think the agents don't even know. Some don't even dive into it and find out the reasons, which is unfortunate for you as the customer, but it would be good to at least know why the rate increase is happening, whether it's based on your score or your insurance score, your profile, or the actual home itself. Is there something that you can do to fix this? The other thing that I promised we talk about is the biggest thing that I'm seeing agents that are a little bit shady. I don't think it's shady. I think it's, I want to say dishonest, but it's not dishonest either. I want to say it's a trick. Okay, let's just say what a lot of these companies are doing is they're smart. They know they don't want to lose you as a client. Me as an agent, even if my carrier raises the rates, I don't want to lose you as a client, but I don't necessarily want to cheat you out of coverage. What they're doing is they're renewing policies or updating policies, and they're changing the coverages. You have to read it, review it, and sign it, and they're switching things up a little bit. So they're selling you policies that have higher deductibles. That's perfectly fine. But the deductibles that we're starting to see is 2 to 5%. And most people don't realize that 2 to 5% compared to what your deductible was, which is usually $1,000 to $1,500 out of pocket. So if you have a claim, you pay $1,000 and they fix the roof and they fix the siding or they fix the fire damage, all of those things. Where a 5% deductible on a $300,000 house is 15 grand. You have to pay $15,000 just to get your house fixed. You might as well just fix it yourself half the time, and that's why it's less expensive. So they're changing that up. They're removing the water backup. A lot of people don't realize water backup is not part of a policy. I'll go more in depth on it in a video. I have a home insurance 101 that goes further into that. But in general, those coverages are things that most customers need. They don't realize that these are the most common claims. And the people don't cover it because there's a cost to it. You've got to fit the budget to what the coverages are, and it just has to make sense. In general, if you are shopping, again, I'll put the link description below, but if you want to learn more about the house coverages that you should be looking at and what you should be mostly carrying, it can adjust from year to year depending on how much you're willing to take on as risk, right? I'll pay $3,000 out of pocket, and then the insurance will pay the rest. That will reduce the cost of what you have to pay for your house insurance. I'll put my home insurance video 101 that goes further in depth on that. If you're looking for more of a discount option, I've got a discount video here that goes further in depth on that as well. That could just help you save money on your current policy. I'm Mark with Think Insurance. I'll see you in the next one.